Hello and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Thanks for joining this another partner webinar. The first one I think we did about a few weeks ago that focused more on the Aviatrix overall solutions that we have now available, as well as some new updates that we have made to the software and the platform. I hope you found it useful. There is a tremendous amount of interest coming from various partners based on the new innovation that Aviatrix is making, and partners are an excellent extension of our team here. So we really value your partnerships, and thanks to you for being here. In today's webinar, what we really want to focus on is a security play for Aviatrix, right? What are the security use cases and how Aviatrix is helping enterprise customers save cost and improve their security, right? And we will show you how that looks like. And for partners, that becomes an immediate target because most of our customers are also requesting the same thing from their partners on how can you introduce us to a modern cloud security solution that can help us improve security in a more modernized way while saving cost and optimize for better performance. And so this is the focus of today's webinar. I have with me Shahzad Ali, who is the VP of Solutions Architect. Myself lead the business development and global partnerships. We also have Chris McHenry, who is our head of security solutions. And we also have Brad Headland, who is principal architect and will be helping out with any Q&A. You may have seen him doing some of the partner webinars and technical sessions as well. So let me just quickly share my screen. I will cover a few slides and I will then hand over to Chris. All right, so just few introductory comments before we can get started. As you already know that customers are moving their mission critical applications to the cloud. And as they are moving their mission critical applications, they are focusing on modernizing their infrastructure. I think they are maturing enough to realize that lift and shift does not work. They want to be able to bring modern solutions that works better in the cloud, because at the end of the day, it's all about applications and users and how they perform better in the cloud while connecting back to the on-prem world. And in that capacity, they are heavily more than ever relying on the partners. And this is basically the next few years are going to be very important for partners and ISVs like Aviatrix to come together and help our customers. Aviatrix has a partner-first approach. We have made tremendous success on our own in the last 5 to 6 years. We have about 600 customers. We're doing really well in terms of expanding to some of the very large customers in the world. And this is where now it's time to scale rapidly through our partners and help out our joint customers. The power of three is real, where the CSP, whether it's AWS, Azure, GCP, Oracle, Aviatrix, and our trusted partner, they come together to really help customers with their migrations and application performance in the cloud. So the immediate goals from us to the partner community is identify the use case that we'll be covering in the presentation later today. Those are basically the immediate pain points that Aviatrix can solve for your customers. And as you already know, the cloud motion is a land and expand motion. So you land with a use case or a pain that customer is looking for help with. And then once you are in, then you continue to expand that particular use case and also adding new capabilities or new use cases that helps the customers. So what we really are looking for is for partners to use this webinar, use the content that we will be sharing with you to educate yourself. We have assets that you can forward and share with your customers as well. You can customize it based on your own go-to-market and your own relationship with the partner. But then as soon as you identify a customer that is eligible for a certain use case, you can register the lead to Aviatrix, or you can bring it to us and we can help you close that, right? And this is basically a full life cycle service opportunity for partners. You make commission or revenue or referral as soon as you refer a customer to us. who becomes, a land customer or deployed customer, then obviously opportunity to do managed services, opportunity to do professional services, opportunity to manage operations. You gain a lot of trust with your customer by recommending a modern partner who is really helping them save cost and improve overall security. Just a quick background for people who have not attended the first one. Aviatrix is a top cloud networking and networking security ISV. We work with all of the cloud service providers, AWS, Azure, GCP, Oracle. We won the Gartner Cool Vendor Award in 2021. We're also the top startup for CNBC in 2022, and also the Fast 500 from Deloitte, right? So we have several awards, which shows us the leadership that we have in the cloud networking and networking security space. Also, the other thing that's going to be very exciting for you as a partner is the type of the logos that we are getting. Not only they are huge logos that everybody is familiar with, but also they are in all the vertical. And the reason is everybody is moving to the cloud. They're moving their applications to the cloud. They have infrastructure needs. They want to modernize. They want to be cloud-like so that they can have a better application performance, and they want to secure it, and they want to improve cost. So whether it's automobile, whether it's manufacturing, whether it's oil and gas, whether it's financials, you'll find customers everywhere. It's not tied to a certain vertical. So obviously this is a great news for partners because you can then find more customers to help them out and while continuing to grow your business accordingly. Some of the sayings, and I'm going to say this is a security focused webinar. One of the comment I want to share is where Avitrix is the born in the cloud software vendor. We leverage a lot of native constructs from the cloud, and we enhance it to make it a better, consistent solution for customers in one cloud or many clouds in the exact same way. So one of our customer from Choice Hotels, they actually commented that Avitrix is more cloud native than the native cloud firewalls. And then the fact that we can abstract and remove the multi-cloud differences and provide you a single policy interface where you can identify your assets and provide a consistent policy model which can enforce security closest to the source. It's just an amazing value proposition. And while you also reduce cost. This is something that Chris McHenry will go over, but I wanted to make sure that this is a golden opportunity for our partners to take this forward for your customers and modernize their security posture. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Chris McHenry to talk about distributed cloud firewall and what are some of the key use cases that you can immediately start helping your customers with.
Great,
right.
Thanks, Naman. Okay, awesome. Sorry for the technical difficulties this morning. My name is Chris McHenry. I lead our security product strategy here at Aviatrix. And obviously, if you've been following Aviatrix over the last several months, you've seen that we've been doing a lot of innovation in the space around cloud security. And so we're going to talk a little bit today about what I think this means from a partner opportunity perspective. And one of the really, really exciting things about what we've launched with Distributed Cloud Firewall is that it affects an area where partners have oftentimes been involved in cloud architecture, where we see to some of the additional complexity coming in, but also it's a place where there's massive, massive opportunity for customers who are looking for a solution that is more cloud native, but also provides the level of enterprise security that customers are here that need and expect, right? And so let's talk a little bit about current state with many, many cloud architects. One of the big challenges that happened when organizations moved to the cloud was that the perimeter that they had control of in their data center started to disappear. And as a response to that, one of the big things that we've seen is customers are trying to move their existing firewalls into the cloud and recreate that legacy architecture. It's essentially a lift and shift of the existing software, the existing security vendors, and the existing architecture, which is probably the most important part, where rather than taking advantage of all of the benefits of the cloud from the perspective of horizontal scale, burstability, Instead, what we do is we recreate that choke point that we had on premises. And I would argue that this is largely due to a lack of innovation to some extent in the existing firewalling space. And this is also, no one would say that lifting and shifting an application is the best way to move it to the cloud, yet that's what we're doing with our network security to try to regain control of it. And because this is such a challenging and inefficient architecture to deploy, what we see many, many times is customers that just don't do it. And I cannot tell you the number of large organizations that I have worked with that have minimal to no network security on their perimeter where their applications connect to the internet. This is something that would have been totally unacceptable on premises. No one would say that you could go in and say, oh, well, I just don't need a firewall as my application communicate out to the internet. I don't need that visibility. I don't need that control. Yet we see this being an incredibly common architecture in the cloud. And the cloud has done some amazing things to help accelerate innovation. It's done some amazing things, that ability to connect quickly to the internet, to utilize different services from different companies, utilizing PaaS services from the service provider is one of the things that makes application development so rapid, but it also eliminates the ability for security teams to get visibility and control. And we need to find a balance here, right? We have to find a way to innovate in this space so that we can regain control of the perimeter, and that's exactly what we're doing with Distributed Cloud Firewall. Now, in addition to when we see organizations adopting these security architectures, whether it's a centralized architecture, whether it's an architecture that doesn't, has minimal security, this is not just because we're trying to save money. In fact, oftentimes these architectures are more expensive. Anytime you transfer data in the cloud, it costs money. So if I create a centralized security stack across all of the different applications that I have in my cloud, I have to send that data to the centralized security stack before I send it out to the internet or before I send it out to another application. And that costs money to transfer that data to the centralized security stack. If I just want to have access to the internet, we still oftentimes need to pay for that as well with services like NAT gateways. And we lack, again, the basic and enterprise grade controls that we expect from our secure perimeter capabilities. I was asking one of our customers the other day, how they responded to the Log4j vulnerability in their on-premises data center. And the response that I got was, oh, it was super easy. We used our firewall, we blocked outbound Active Directory connections, outbound to LDAP connections, and we'd mitigated the vulnerability, right? Then we went and we spent the next several months patching and working with our vendors and all of those kinds of things. And then I said, how did you handle this in the cloud? He said, oh, it was terrible. We scrambled. We didn't know where the vulnerabilities were. We had no visibility into what the applications were doing. We had no control. And regaining control of the perimeter, regaining control of that fundamental network security point is incredibly important to help organizations maintain their security posture. And so we decided that one of the big challenges here is the fact that nobody's really re-architected the firewall in a way that is optimized for cloud. Even when we look at some of the cloud native offerings from AWS, from Azure, from GE, they still lift and shift the architecture. They are optimized for centralized firewall deployments, which bottlenecks, which create management complexity, which don't fit well into existing distributed architectures. And so with Distributed Cloud Firewall, we thought, what if instead of lifting and shifting the architecture, what if instead we built security directly into the network everywhere that the network lived in a distributed fashion so that security could be pushed closer to the endpoint, closer to the workloads, closer to essentially the edge of the cloud infrastructure, that place where you as an enterprise have to own the part of the shared security model. Importantly, it needs to be centrally managed, right? We're a security organization. We need that centralized visibility. We need to feed that data into a SIEM. We need to be able to respond to incidents and implement controls. And we need to be able to do this in a way that's easy to manage across all of our applications, all of our regions, and all of our clouds. But we want to maintain the value and the benefit of distributed inspection and enforcement. We want to be able to apply security controls even if something is not connected back to our corporate network so that we can monitor it for things like command and control and data exfiltration and respond to vulnerabilities. And importantly, this can't just be basic controls. This can't just be layer 4. This can't just be security groups. It has to be all of the things that we expect from a traditional firewall appliance. The ability to do deep packet inspection, to apply controls at layer 7 with IDS and IPS, to do things like decryption, man-in-the-middle decryption and URL filtering, and help drive closer to a zero-trust posture. And even push that further, the ability to mitigate incidents by implementing micro-segmentation and quarantining endpoints and being able to respond again with a centralized control, but across our entire application footprint, across all of our regions, all of our accounts, all of our clouds. And it's not just about visibility. It's not just about detection. It's also about the ability to implement controls. And so we don't want to do this, again, by managing individual policies for every single application. We want to do this. What if this environment looked like it was one big perimeter? What if it looked the same as if you had a centralized control, as if you had a centralized firewall? That policy is global, but the enforcement is distributed. And the irony behind this is that it's significantly easier to manage the system when you don't, when security is embedded into the network, you actually have to think less about the network. We have to think less about where traffic gets inspected and where traffic gets enforced, and we can move towards enforcing identity-based, intent-based policies, things that the application owners understand, things based on tags and attributes, and things that automatically adjust as the workload environment changes. So this is the Distributed Cloud Firewall, a distributed system designed from the ground up for cloud, where the security team can still treat it like a centrally managed and pervasive network security control. So importantly, this is something that we need to provide immediate and quick value to customers with. And so step one, and one of the places where most organizations start with us, is on regaining control of the internet perimeter. There's a lot of interesting solutions. There's been a good amount of innovation in terms of ingress security. We see innovation in the cloud providers themselves. It's relatively easy to implement a web application firewall. We have services Cloudflare and Akamai and the CDN networks, which are starting to implement security. Egress security is one of those specific gaps that I see being incredibly common. As I had mentioned beforehand, another critical control in the context of the attack lifecycle, looking at MITRE's attack matrix, downloading and executing payloads, doing data exfiltration, establishing command and control, all egress security use cases. Oftentimes, egress security is either implicitly allowed, which is based in Azure and GCP, or it requires a service like a NAT gateway inside of AWS. And so step one is to replace those NAT gateways with an enterprise-grade security control and do it in a one-for-one way without impacting the architecture. Incredibly simple to adopt. It's actually a couple button clicks in our console that allows you to replace those NAT gateways, regain visibility, regain control. And the interesting part about this is as you are doing this, we oftentimes will also save the customer money because things like NAT gateways are not free. They are an additional and incremental charge on top of the egress data transfer. We do not charge for data transfer. And so being able to go to your customers and say, I can help you save money and improve your security posture, and I can do it without making major changes to your architecture, really is a winning combination to get started. Incredibly easy to get started, makes a very big, meaningful difference with very low level of effort. Now, once we solve the perimeter problem, this is one of the most important places to look, then we can start solving that pervasive east-west, security, not just for public networks, but security for private networks, pushing down further with micro-segmentation and building out a truly secure cloud network with distributed firewalling on top of that. So the step two, once you've solved the egress security challenge, once you've deployed our distributed cloud firewall for egress, step two, you can start replacing other components in the cloud, whatever you're using for networking between different VPCs, for connecting back on premises. We can build the Aviatrix Secure Cloud Network on top of that. And we can add east-west firewalling and micro-segmentation, which allows us to reduce the existing bolt-on firewalls that you have in your environment, and instead building in that network security to the cloud network itself. And again, this is all the things that you would expect from a traditional firewall appliance. So very, very quick, just to kind of look at the process and what the sales motion looks like. Step one, it's building in that visibility into the edge and reducing cost and total cost of ownership with existing native services. Specifically, oftentimes the total cost of ownership benefit happens around NAT gateways across all three of the different service providers. Now, as soon as you replace an existing NAT gateway, which provides limited visibility with an Aviatrix Secure NAT gateway, you start to get that visibility. You have that ability to implement controls. If you need to mitigate a particular action, it's incredibly a particular vulnerability or a particular exploit, or you need to block, based on a new IOC that comes out. It's incredibly easy to move from step one to step two. You now have that control in place, and we can start enforcing policy with our Distributed Cloud Firewall on top of those NAT gateways. Step three is expanding this security outside of just the egress use case. We've gained control of the most important point in our network, the perimeter. Now we can start to reduce the blast radius, implement micro-segmentation, increase our zero trust oriented posture by segmenting within our network with our full distributed cloud firewall, securing that east-west traffic. And then as you start to overlay security onto the network, it can start to reduce the investment that you have, or even eliminate the investment that you may have in those legacy firewalls that you brought with you to the cloud. So we get better performance, better total cost of ownership, and a better experience overall with a solution that was designed explicitly for the cloud. And with that, I will pass it back over to Naman.
Thanks, Chris. Really appreciate it. So just to also, let me quickly share my screen for a little bit, and then Chris, you can comment on that as well. But I want to quickly share a few assets that we have that you're familiar with. Right? So we have this, TCO calculator. Right? So if you go to aviatrix.com, or even just like Aviatrix TCO calculator, you will be you'll be here, and then there you can very easily figure out that how much savings you can do for your customer. Chris, Brad, Shazad, who are on this call, they actually developed this very easy to use tool or a calculator where you can just put number of NAT gateways that customer may have. Let's say if you have 300 NAT gateways, maybe like 100 VPCs, and each VPC may have 3 availability zones. Let's say 300 NAT gateways, and if you have a medium estimated total traffic, let's say 5 terabyte per month, you can compare it, and then you can easily see that the amount of cost savings that customer can have. So many customers, if they have a significant or decent amount of traffic going through their NAT gateway, because cloud provider charge for data processing, you can immediately start to save cost for the customer. And cost, as you are already familiar, is top of the mind for every CIO, CTO, CEO. How can you optimize your infrastructure, but at the same time save costs? So this is basically a way for you to get immediate trust. We have several customers and several partners who are already taking one step forward, where they're actually making it part of their service offering to the end customer. So not only you can recommend this to your customer to improve security, save costs, at the same time you can add your own services on top of it, which could be some additional solutions, or could be in the form of PS services that you can offer while you migrate from NAT gateways to Avitrix Distributed Cloud Firewall for egress. And so basically, you have several assets available in terms of doing a self-service evaluation of how it would look like. I will cover that later. Also, we have Terraform scripts that we can leverage to help out your customers. this is basically your TCO calculator. Chris and Brad, do you have anything on this one? Or did I cover everything? I think I covered it.
The thing that I'll say about this is, right, this really is that magic that magic thing that we can talk to customers about, right? I mean, it's not, everybody's inspecting their cloud bills and everybody cares about security. And, I'll say this, not every customer is going to save money moving to us just from that. But that's not really what our focus is. Our focus really is about improving security posture, improving visibility, improving control, and our total cost of ownership, because we were designed with cloud first in mind, because we were designed to take advantage of the distributed nature of cloud. When you look at the alternatives from a firewalling perspective, we almost always have a advantageous total cost of ownership. So you'll see in this calculator, actually, if you have the customer submit their email address, they'll get a breakdown of the full math, and it'll actually compare both the savings that they might get from just replacing NAT gateways, but in addition to that, you'll see savings that they would get when comparing to an alternative firewall as well. So we really are focused on both things. We want to save customers money, and we want to help them improve their security posture. And so this TCO calculator takes both into account.
Perfect. Awesome. The other thing I want to highlight is if you go to selfservice.aviatrix.com, right? What you will see, okay, so I'm in the process, but what you will see is you will get a portal where you can either directly use it to deploy an environment where you yourself can evaluate how you can basically move from a NAT gateway, let's say AWS NAT gateway, to a Aviatrix Distributed Cloud Firewall for egress gateway, right? So it's a very, I would say, automated sort of a self-service launch tool. It will ask you for some of the information, and it will automate the entire deployment of our controller, a co-pilot. It will deploy a VPC. It will deploy a NAT gateway, the cloud native NAT gateway, right? And initially, all the traffic will be going through the NAT gateway, so you can see the difference, right? So you will see that, yes, NAT is working with some of the websites. You're able to go out, but there's no visibility, there's no security, and you're paying for that data processing. And that wizard-like experience will then also walk you through on how do you migrate from a NAT to a Avitrix secure egress. And then you are able to see, okay, now you have a better security, better visibility. You can block things based on FQDN. And also now there's no data processing charges. So customers can immediately start to do cost-saving benefits as well. So this is something that would request for you guys to try on your own. Some of our partners are also using this as a POC type of a tool for the end customer. So let's say if your end customer is interested, they may be seeing a messaging, they want a partners to help them out. You can use this to do an initial POC, or you can basically use it to actually deploy, start a single VPC deployment to show how the secure egress works for Aviatrix. That's the second thing. The third thing is, partners. If you go to partners.aviatrix.com, you will be directed to a partner portal, right? So on the right-hand side, you will see deal registration. So as soon as you find a customer, you can register a deal on this page here, so that you can start to get, revenue recognition, referral or reseller commission, which could be even up to 15 to 20% just by recommending a customer who actually get landed and get deployed. Also, I think all of you as partners should be registered into our partner portal, so you can submit your interest here. Once you go in, you might have to request to join. If you already are not registered here, you need to request to join, because once you're able to log in, you will be able to see partner assets that we have uploaded that can actually help you, right? There are a lot of questions around previous partner webinars, where can I watch the recording, self-service, how does it work? What is the email template that I can send to my customers, right? What are some of the lucid charts that I want to leverage, right? So there are a lot of things and assets available that we'll continue to add specifically for our partners. So it's good partner side for you to make sure that you are registered and you're looking at a solution brief, case studies, typical. Chris is working on a nugget bite-size videos as well, which will be a playlist that you can also get access through this partner portal, but it will also be available on the YouTube so that you can send it to your customer or you can view yourself. So that's something I wanted to share. Now going back to our slides. So are you guys able to see that screen of Aviatrix benefit to partners?
Yep, we see that.
Okay, right. So just a quick, just a generic, I would say, list, but I just want to quickly cover it. We are co-sell ready. So if you want to do a CPPO through AWS or through Azure, similar, we are able to do that. I mean, the key benefit for partners is network modernization. Go back here. Network modernization, maintain your customer trust by recommending, modern cloud solutions. Obviously, grow your cloud revenue because every time you recommend a customer, you basically get commissioned, or you can also make PS revenue, managed services revenue, managed operations revenue. And it's a force multiplier because, as Chris was explaining, that even in a customer scenario, even in a scenario where you're just using security, it's a single platform that abstracts the differences of each cloud. So you as a partner would not have to invest in building army of AWS and Azure and GCP to manage a customer environment. You have one platform that allows you to manage a multi-cloud customer environment also, the single policy and single software platform model that we have here. And obviously we are very more. Go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say one more comment here, because I know we've got several partners on here of different kinds of services offerings. One of the other things, I believe a couple of you have managed SIEM or managed security services offerings. One of the challenges, I think we have an opportunity for huge value in that space. One of the challenges that we see in cloud with regards to managed security solutions is getting good, high quality logging and telemetry that integrates directly with whatever platform we're using on the back end. On premises, you had pretty standard log collection mechanisms. You have syslog, you have NetFlow. In the cloud, we don't have great visibility. You don't have the ability to do things like logging which domains are being accessed, and oftentimes enabling things like flow logs comes with significant added cost to the customer. One of the really interesting things about deploying Aviatrix Distributed Cloud Firewall is that we leverage the same kinds of telemetry that you would see on premises. So you don't have to have the customer enable kind of the more expensive log collection components. We can generate standard things like NetFlow and syslog and send those to the SIEM. And so you can use all of the tooling that you have already done and kind of bridge the gap between on-prem and the cloud.
Yep. Awesome. Thanks, Chris. All right, so we have also created this, I would say, reference sheet, single slide reference sheet for partners that focused on security or security solutions that we have. So in this one spreadsheet, you will pretty much get, okay, what are the learning resources? So the first box on top is about solution overview, how to reduce cost on native webinar from Chris. You have a TCO calculator. The self-service tool that I showed you is also there, and a deployment guide that Brad Hedlund wrote for AWS. If you want to manually do this, never leaving the AWS console, you can also do this from there. On the right-hand side, you have the same learning resources for the distributed cloud firewall. So left-hand side is more for egress firewall with our solution, and then right one is a more generic distributed cloud firewall for east, west, and north, south. So these are the two learning resources on the top part, and then we have partner resources. I already covered it. Deal registration, partner portal, partner registration, and then also you will have links to the previous partner webinar. These are 3 marketplace listings, AWS, Azure, GCP, which can allow you to launch Aviatrix software from the marketplace. We also have some customer assets like email template in case you want to send it to your customers. There's a LinkedIn post from Aviatrix that you can also share. There's a short YouTube playlist, which again will embed also some of the videos that are in progress. You also have a customer quote from Choice Hotel. So all these access are a quick and easy thing for you to then take it and customize it and forward it to your end customers. It just makes it super easy for customers to understand the value and ask you for help. In the last, what I would say that what are the 3 steps for the partners? Go over the webinar, the one that we are doing here, and the videos that we mentioned in there in terms of making sure that you are fully enabled. And then use this email template or LinkedIn post, customize it the way you want, and share it with your customers who have the decision power or who you think would appreciate the value it provides. And then let us know, email us, contact us in any way you want. Partners@aviatrix.com is a simple email address to remember. Reach out to us, and we are here to help you out directly as well. And then lastly, I would just cover that we have these ACE for multi-cloud networking certification. I'm sure that all of you already have people who are doing these certified engineering. It basically helps your teams get enabled quickly, and they will be able to do then consulting, architecture work, operations work. So depending on the type of the service you're building, this is an incredible amount of knowledge that you can push to your employees and to your professionals, which can then help the customer. So if you have any need to register some of your guys into specialized training like professional, reach out to us. We'll help you with that. But then some of the trainings are free with the code ACE Multi-Cloud. So you can get people started with ACE Associate, and then you can go to the Ops and Professional as well. So take that advantage to make sure that your teams are getting enabled, and then that way they will be able to help customers with overall cloud networking and security. All right, that's pretty much it from my side. Davina, any questions, or Brad, any questions that they may have on the chat?
We had a question here. I think that's good to just kind of, Brad already answered it on the back end, but I think it's good to bring it up. Somebody here asked, if I understand correctly, you can allow traffic between network domains and still have threat intelligence, IDPS, etc., active on network traffic?
Yes, that is correct. Yep. And I think the other interesting part about this too is that depending on the use case for the customer, just like you had layered network security on-prem where you have different VLANs or different VRFs or network segmentation, and then you also have firewalling. The 2 components are complementary to each other. And so you can use both our broad macro segmentation capabilities with network domains in conjunction with all of the features for Distributed Cloud Firewall, and have that kind of broad-based segmentation combined with the very granular segmentation or the advanced layer 7 visibility.
Awesome, thanks. And one more question here. Do you have a tool to easily migrate my native NAT gateway to Aviatrix Secure NAT Gateway?
Yeah, I can take that. So the self-service tool that we showed is basically more of a validation if you want to test yourself on how to migrate a NAT to a Avitrix Secure Egress. But then we also have a script that if customer wants to do things on their own, or if a partner wants to help out, we can share a Terraform that can help you easily migrate native NAT gateways to Distributed Cloud Firewall for Egress Aviatrix solution. So very easy to do. Customers can do it, through your help very easily. So we have that capability available if you want to do a mass migration of existing NAT gateways as well.
Perfect. That's it.
All right, I think this is pretty good. Thanks a lot, guys, for attending. We're going to have this on demand available, so we'll share it. Please feel free to reach out. Don't wait. As soon as you see a customer, and I'm seeing a tremendous amount of interest from our partners because customers are sort of reaching out to them to get this going as soon as possible. So reach out to your customers, share the knowledge with them, and then bring it to us, and we can help you close it or land it. Some customers, some partners are also adding their marketplace listing with their offerings, which is extremely good sign. This way you can basically, we can spotlight you, we can socialize you, we can do some joint marketing together as well to help you get credible in front of the customers and get you more customers into your pipeline. So it's an exciting time for all of us here, and looking forward to working with all of you to help save costs and improve security. Thanks.